All right, what is up, everybody? We are back with a new video, and for everyone and anyone who is new around here, my name is Chase Mansmann. I am a personal trainer. I've been personal training for 11, going on 12 years. Oh, holy crap, I'm old. But in that time, I have trained pretty much anyone and everyone from young tweens to clients in their 80s with so many different kinds of goals, body shapes, limitations, injury history, etc., etc., etc. So my goal here is to help kind of simplify fitness and kind of use my obsession with this to help kind of add some clarity to some things, and again, just also just get rid of some confusion over a lot of these topics where you see a lot of bickering online. So without further ado, let's get into the top 3 biggest mistakes for beginners getting into fitness, working out, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so number 1 is going to be doing way too much, way too soon. And unfortunately, I see this time and time again. And this is one of those hard ones for me because I understand the intention is probably gold, like most intentions are, where it's like, you get this wave or rush of motivation, or maybe if it's even desperation, to where you're like, all right, I got to do this. So what do? You find one of the hardest classes, or you go to the gym and just absolutely annihilate yourself. And then for the next week, maybe even 2 weeks, you're fucking beat up, your joints hurt, you did way too much, you almost died in that class, etc., etc., etc. Okay? And you have to remember that if you're someone that's relatively untrained, or if you've taken weeks off, months off, years off, decades off of the gym, kind of your threshold to one, just create change or some sort of adaptation, whether it's gaining muscle strength, etc., is pretty low. And also the amount of volume and stimulus that you can handle is also pretty low. Your work capacity is going to be very, very low. So you see people that, again, their limit is here, and they're doing literally like 19x of what their capabilities are at currently at that day during that session. And that's bound to not have the greatest things happen with that. Again, and this is going to lead into my next point about soreness and stuff, but you're going to be crazy sore, you're going to be achy, and it's just overly just not probably going to be the most enjoyable thing. So for all of those out there, pump the brakes, slow down, probably do half as much as you think you want to do for that session. Now, this does become hard if you do any type of group fitness classes, and sometimes that's kind of why I am like with certain individuals in group fitness classes. And I get it from both sides because I've also have coached group fitness, so it's very hard to scale things and be like, oh, Susie, you do half of what they're doing because you're new, they're not new, whatever. So I understand that, but don't be afraid to pump the brakes, because one session doesn't mean anything at all. It doesn't matter what your goal is, whether it's, again, just gaining overall fitness, losing weight, gaining strength, muscle, whatever it is, it's an accumulation of a ton of reps and sets and days and sessions and weeks and months and years. One session doesn't mean anything. So if you are training so hard that you need to take the rest of the week off, and then you have PTSD from that session, so you don't show back up for the next session for another month or whatever, you're doing yourself a giant disservice. So pump the brakes, do a little bit less, and then build up over time. I'm not saying do this for forever, but first week, I'd probably, again, do about 50% of what you think you want to do, and then get more sessions in too, because that's another funny thing is like, you do one session so hard that you don't work out the rest of the week, like that's not going to do all that much for you. So if you can do 50%, but then also do 4 sessions, that accumulation is much, much more than this one, crazy Goggins, painful, workout session. All right. Slow down, pump the brakes, do a bit less. I'd rather you leaving the gym feeling like you can do a little bit more than needing a wheelchair to get out of there. Okay. So then that leads me to number 2, which again is kind of a piggyback off number 1. And all of these are going to be kind of a piggyback, to be honest. You don't need to be incredibly sore to create change and create whatever adaptation that you are seeking. Again, another thing where we put too much stock, we put too much value on this one proxy of just, again, the sensation of soreness after your workout. And a lot of times it could be more detrimental than anything else. And I also understand the psychological part of it, meaning you just feel accomplished when you leave the gym, or not leave the gym, maybe leave the gym a bit fatigued, but the next day when you feel a bit sore. So I understand that part. And I also want that too. But there's a fine line. And again, there's a threshold. Maybe up to a 5 out of 10 soreness is okay. But once you start getting that 8 to 9, that's going to mess with everything that you do. And to be honest with you, not to throw shade at trainers, but also to throw shade, if I ever hear a new client like, man, I couldn't walk for a week after that leg session, like I cringe and shake my head so much because, again, you're doing way too much. You're doing that client a disservice. You probably just fucked with their week, maybe their work week, maybe with their children, things like that. Then also, like, if that particular client has like a weight loss goal and then they were so sore that they couldn't get their steps or go for walks or whatever, again, you're doing them a big, big disservice. So for me, again, it's just we scale these things over time. If someone's brand new, I'm not going to smash them with 50 sets of legs. That is idiotic. We're going to build it over time and spread these things out so they're not so sore. And then also so they can show up more often. Because again, going back to what I was saying with point one, it's accumulation of so many different sets, reps, and workout sessions over the span of days, weeks, months, and years. Okay, one session doesn't mean anything. And if you're so sore from one session that you can't do session number 2, 3, or 4 of the week, you're doing yourself a giant disservice. So again, these are kind of one and the same. Scale it back a little bit. Be a little bit sore so you can get that sense of accomplishment, because that is important and that will, help you to kind of bring you back for more and more. But don't overdo it, okay? And especially if you're brand new, if this is novel, scale it down a little bit. And then the following week or following session, you can kind of raise things up to make it more appropriate to where you're currently at. So that's number 2. Again, you do not need to be super duper sore to create any meaningful change, okay? And then let's go on to number 3. And again, these are all kind of piggybacks. And this is that it does not need to suck. This whole process, this whole journey, in my opinion, should not suck that much. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't have, certain days or weeks that you're like, I don't want to do this. I don't have a lot of time, etc. And you have to give yourself a little bit of a push. Those are going to happen. Even for me, who loves this stuff, I have those sessions all the time. Even today, I kind of had one of those sessions. But if all of them feel like that, I might be like, try some other stuff, man. And especially like for most of these people, again, I train mainly general population where they're like, I want to lose some weight. I want to feel better, look better. There is so many different things that you can do to accomplish that goal. So play around with it, have fun. For some individuals, novelty is great for them, where it's like they get those class pass things and they're doing spin one day and boxing one day and this, that. Like that's totally fine, man. Whatever's going to keep you engaged and showing up to physical activity is always, always crucial. It's always big. It's always immensely, immensely valuable. So have fun. Enjoy the process as much as you can. If you don't like whatever class your friend does, then don't do it. Try something new. Again, try Pilates, try yoga, try group fitness, try CrossFit, try it all. I guarantee you, with however many different kind of workout things that we have now in 2024, you can find something that you don't absolutely hate. I promise you this, okay? So that's the big number 3, is this does not have to suck. I think a lot of people think, oh, the more I suffer, the faster this is going to go. It doesn't work like that. This process takes way, way, way too long, okay? So if you can't stick to this for like a fucking year, then honestly, I'm like, find something else, all right? And then last thing, I just needed this honorable mention is, and I'm sorry, but this is mainly for you ladies out there, you're not going to get too buff. You're not going to get too muscular. I can't stand this myth, and I swear it's like, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, why is it always from you ladies that I hear this? Yet I've never seen this in practice of like, wow, they did 2 curls and they have the biggest biceps I've ever seen. Apparently, it just seems like most of you have the most elite bodybuilding genetics out there. So please, and you don't, I'm sorry, you do not. This is me trying to get as big as possible for the last 15 years, and I'm nowhere near ginormous. Most people would probably call me pretty small. So I promise it's not going to happen by accident. And any additional bulk that you're getting is going to come from the nutrition side of things. So if you like lifting weights, ladies, men, whatever, fucking lift those weights, please. All right, that's all I got for you. Let me know what you think. Do you have any other, again, big mistakes for beginners? If so, shoot them down in the comment below. If you have any ideas or things that you want me to go over in the next video, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for tuning in. All right.